Good morning, y'all. Okay, so yeah, I'm in the same clothes as last time because I'm gonna do some batch videos and get this out of the way. Um, so it's Mrs. Miller again, and we're gonna go over our June tasks because I'm a little late in June to be doing this, but hey, you get the point. So I wanted to go over. Um, Last time I talked about in my introductory video about who, what, when, where, how, why, blah, blah, blah. So now we're doing tasks. These are just, things that can help get you started with your garden. Um, and I wanted to talk about the what are you going to plant type things and your vision being bigger than what is the reality. So if you look, Sydney, can you pan up and see how beautiful that is? That is a beautiful climbing hydrangea, people. Now, for old gardeners, and here's a picture of a pup that kind of grows in the garden too. Yeah, anyway. So this is a real garden, okay? This is not, I know a lot of gardening channels, their stuff is done, it's completely perfect and stuff like that. That's not this yard. I've been doing this for 25 years and I work, so, not now though. I'm semi-retired, so I'm semi-working. So, this climbing hydrangea, I want it so bad as a, oh, there's a leaf size, so they're nice size leaf, and they have beautiful, this is finished flowering, but it blooms just like a regular hydrangea, like a almost like a lace cap hydrangea. And I'll show you a picture of that for those who don't know what a lace cap is. That's usually the flat head with flowers on the sides, or petals, I guess you could say. Yeah, like this. There you go. Bees love it, and even hummingbirds. So don't have people telling you hummingbirds only like tubular flowers. That's a lie. They like everything because they're greedy. Okay, so this plant is a climbing hydrangea, like I said before. Uh, and what you need to know before you go, oh my God, I'm gonna go get this plant. From the time you plant it, it takes 7 years before the first bloom comes. So just be aware that the plant tags are there for a reason, okay? And the plant tags are are great, but they really give you basic information. They really don't tell you that it just says long blooming time or that it takes a long time for maturity. What that means is you could be looking at a slow grower that's going to take you years before you get to the plant that you really want. So luckily, if you, oh, look at that little black thing. Luckily, if you actually research the plant on a plant database, you will find out that this thing takes, yeah, a good six, it usually is 7 to 10 years, depending, but mine bloomed in like 6.5, 7 years, so I was right on the line. And so just make sure that you research the plants, that you know your zone, that you know your microclimate. Your microclimate includes, I have dappled sun, or it's dappled shade. Yeah, I don't have much over here. My husband runs over this, so that's why there's nothing over here. Nothing but the neighbor's ivy. Yeah. So, as part of our tasks for June, we want to start cleaning up. So this is an azalea. If you have azaleas, if you're in the South, you tend to have azaleas everywhere. This is the time to cut these back or whatever, shape them up how you want to shape them. I don't. I'm kind of free with my plantings. I really don't cut things back. I may clip them a little bit or whatever. I mean, I clipped this back a couple weeks ago after the first blooms, and but this is, I kind of let it go. Like there's a little stem or whatever. I just like the way it looks. Free, like all plants should be. When you have hydrangeas like these, I already nipped back the I deadheaded it already, so there are no dead blooms on it, right? And when you're cutting a hydrangea, you're always going to go down till you get to the bud up in here, and usually it's like 5 leaves, or you'll see see up in there, see where a joint is right there, and you have a little bud. You can cut back to there if you need to, but otherwise this plant is perfect. I never have to do anything to the lace caps hardly, except for when I want to shape them up and make them fluffy again. Deadheading always helps. Of course, with hostas, you don't have to do anything too. You just cut them back in the fall. Hey, pup! Let's follow Coda. Dakota is a Western German Shepherd. He is 4 or are you 5 now? I don't even know. All I know is you're bad and you take sticks. Okay. And so here we have 3 varieties of hydrangea. So if we were to do any kind of cleanup, we just want to clean up in the middle of here. We get rid of leaves, any dead sticks up in there, anything like that that kind of takes away from the actual beauty of the plant. And of course, 3 varieties, but hydrangeas are all pretty much the same. They do love water, they do like shade, they will take some sun. And now that it's June, our first task is we want to be water savvy. So you really want to have drip irrigation, soaker hoses, you know, or you just want to come out here and water yourself. Once you get it kind of established, you really don't have to have those things all the time because you've already mulched, you've already dug and applied fertilizers and things like that, and you have your plants in the correct area. If you plant them correctly, you won't have to put out drip irrigation all the time and soaker hoses. At least I don't. So I don't know what that's saying. I come out here maybe once, twice a week, and I water as deeply as I can and call it a day. So, next thing, we want to transplant. So for those who are wanting to start seeds indoors, when I first started gardening, that's all I did was seeds. And so everything I did was seeds. Everything, you know, except for trees. And trees I didn't add at all. I did not plant any. Coda just kind of came with us. So you transplant whatever leftover seedlings that you have. Seeds are the best way to get plants cheaply at low cost. Some plants are hard to find as seeds. You really have to go through wholesale dealers to kind of get them, like hostas and things. I don't know if I've ever tried a hosta seed. Is that possible? It's not a seed. It's a root. So I've never done that before. Anyway, next thing is we want to weed. Come on over. So, nice little planting bed. I got my little Japanese maples, and then we have some weeds. So we just want to pull weeds out. I do not add any kind of weed killer. I have added some maybe grass killer at one point, but I really try to keep this 99% organic if I can, because I do not like to add stuff. I do have some puppies growing. No, seriously, I have ivy, poison ivy, poison oak that grows through my yard. I'm not allergic to it, so I just kind of pull it up as I see it, because I really don't want to put things in the ground, you know, like Roundup. That stuff is horrid, but if you have to do what you have to do, I'm not going to sit here and judge. Deadheading and pinching back. Let's go look at some roses, and we can look this way again. That way we're not in the sun, because it's hot as blazes, y'all. And I'll step in because I know where I'm at. So, when people talk about deadheading, a lot of times they're talking about roses. This is a volunteer rose. That means it volunteered to come up and give me a plant, which is lovely. Look at that rose. I have no idea what this rose is. It was here when I got here. I have tried to dig it up. The original location of this rose is over there by that watering can. You see that little stem? And it keeps coming back. So this is the roots of the original mother plant, and it has grown over here, and it's some kind of huge climber, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So when we're deadheading roses, you can kind of chop them off if you want to. You don't have to be perfect with them. Coda, what are you doing? Okay. That's going to be a lot of my videos, just telling him to stop. So with roses, you always want to go down. Sydney, if you can zoom in. You always want to go down to a 5-leaf, a nice healthy 5-leaf. So I would probably bypass this one. It's not as healthy, and I go down here and cut all that off. You don't have to. If you're looking at it and say, look at all these 5 leaves above, you can do right here. But what happens is the lower you go, you're going to get a bushier plant, and that's going to make it healthier. So I'll come out here later and I will clip that. And when you're clipping at a 45-degree angle right above the bud, just like this. So the next thing that comes out, there's a bud right here, and it's going to branch out from here. So I will still have nice fluffy rows. Don't look at my chicken scratch. Okay. And then this is also a time, and you see there's weeds over there. I'll get those. I'm not a real big stickler about whining about weeds and grass that comes in the yard. That just happens. I mean, that's what yards do. This is what gardens, this is what real gardening is. You know, you're always going to have some grass or weeds that pop up. I don't use landscape fabric or plastic. I don't like the way it does the soil, because if you're trying to have a healthy soil, you can't put landscape fabric or plastic down, because then it compacts the soil. So that means all the good microbes and the worms and stuff like that are not doing well. You can dig anywhere in my garden and there's going to be big fat worms. I know y'all don't care about that. Okay. So, and then another thing is when you're coming out here and you're doing your tasks and things you want to get done and clean up your ivy and weeds and all that stuff, you want to look for pests. Now me, I have a very, like I said, organic yard. I don't really have any pests that come on and tear up my plants. I used to have bad slugs, but if you get the right kind of mulch, you won't have that problem. Try to stay away from hay and straw. I know it looks great and I like the color of it, but rats and mice like straw because they're able to burrow in really easily, and snakes will go in there because that's where the mice are. So if you get something like this, if you get just regular bark mulch, that will help avoid some of the slugs. So I haven't had slugs for a few years now. And then different kind of mulches. If you like the big bark mulch, that's okay too. It doesn't really break down as fast as this mulch. I'm gonna have to remulch pretty soon, and then I'm gonna have to mulch the front bed as well. So I mean, that's all for June. You know, looking for pests, cleaning up, making your yard look pretty. You know, we'll talk more about plants and some of the things that we need to do as far as taking care of them. You know, take a look at that ladybug, isn't she sweet? If she's considered a pest, so be it. You guys have a lovely day.